Hey guys, Philosopher here, and today we're going to be discussing the rework to Gamora and Nebula, transforming them from two of the very worst characters in the game to two very meta characters. So, what we're going to do today, first of all, is we're going to look at the stats because there's stat increases here. I'm going to show you how much the stat increases help them. We're going to go through the kits, discuss the kits, and then I'm going to talk about where I think, now that we have 3/5 of the team, we've seen the Adam Warlock kit and we've seen the new reworks, how I think this team could impact the meta. So let's get started with the stats. So I'm going to start, before I get into the kits here, it says Gamora base ability and stat updates. Massive updates to Gamora. Massive updates. And then similarly, we have massive updates to Nebula. Not quite as big on base stats, 20%, but that's still very significant. So what I'm going to do first is go and take a look at the stats. And I'm going to a website called MSF.gg. I want to thank them for giving me access here. They've been very helpful in when I've had questions about how things in the game work or adding features and so forth. Great website. And let's just take a look at where her health and so forth is now. It's actually very far down. So if we're looking at, we're going to start with Gamora. Her health is down at 114th, basically right here at this, very low level. So you can see all these characters tied for whatever it is, 113, 114. Now, so this is all max, by the way. These are all, 7 red, G15, whatever. It doesn't matter where we set this. In other words, we could set it to 5 yellows or 2 reds or G12 or whatever. The point is just to see the relative rank of the character. So no matter what gear level you set it at, the relative rank is what's important. There's, by the way, around 168 characters in the game or so. There's 169 on here because they count Phoenix and Dark Phoenix separately on here. So basically, this gives you a sense of where she ranks. So right now, 114th in health, very low. Doubling that takes her all the way to 484,680. 484,680. She's now tied with Thanos and Kingpin here for number 5 in the game on health. Massive update for Gamora there. That puts her in just hugely survivable. She's up here with the Thanos, Hulk, Surfer, this massive health pool. Now, damage also very significant change. Right now, supposedly she's a damager. But if you want to find Gamora's damage, you're going to have to go all the way down here. She is very low on the list of damagers right there. She's tied for essentially here for like 127th with, characters that aren't damagers like Mr. Fantastic or Kree Oracle or Mr. Sinister. Now she's getting a 40% boost. That brings her all the way up to 29,489. Okay. Matt, look at us climbing the rankings here. Wow. She's now basically 25th in damage between Cyclops and Crystal. Very significant here. Very significant increase. All right. Also, very significant increase in armor. Right now, her armor stat, this is for Gamora we're talking, is one of the very lowest in the game. Third or fourth lowest in the game, depending on how you look at it. With the, fourth lowest in the game. She has the lowest armor stat other than these 3 that have no armor at all. That's really low. Well, now she's getting that up by 600 additional percent. That brings her all the way up. I mean, it's massive. All the way up to 10,192, which gets her up in this range here, right? She's going to be basically a little higher than characters that are in this Elektra, Rocket, Korath, whatever range here. Still not high armor, but less of a paper mache than she used to be. Now her focus and resistance each get 20% upgrades, which are significant. So her focus before, if you look at it, she used to be, way down here again in this area. 79, 89. She's tied with a lot of other characters here in this range. Very low on the list. We're looking, 144th. She's actually essentially tied for 108th because there's a lot of characters here, whether it's Iron Man or Groot or whatever, that have this as focus. Now with the 20% boost, that definitely rockets her up the list. She'll be now 95.87, basically tied with Coulson. Okay, so much more respectable focus. Still not awesome, but respectable. Her resistance was also very low, not quite as bad, but she was essentially 90th here before, tied with Hawkeye and various others. If you look on this list, or excuse me, yeah, she's somewhere on this list. Here she is, tied very low. I mean, she's essentially down here with the trash pool in terms of resistance. 20% boost makes her a little bit more respectable, brings her up to 95.87 here with the Psylocks and Lokis of the world. So very nice increase for Gamora in terms of stats. Now let's take a look at her kit. Her kit is fantastic. Let's start with her passive. So before, it was all just giving some crit chance. That's very, very outdated. This may have been when the game started, not so great anymore. So now she is empowered if you're in a full team. That's the bottom line with this charged stuff. So on spawn, she gets charged for non-Infinity Watched allies. But if she has a full Infinity Watch team, then she doesn't have charges at all, and she becomes empowered on her turn. So essentially, if you want a powered Gamora on turn 1, you just run a full Infinity Watch team, and then that fills her speed bar by 50%. So that effectively makes it faster. Now, neither of these characters are very fast, okay? They're both like slower characters in the game, but this means that once she gets empowered, that she'll essentially take 2 turns very close to each other because she's going to get half her speed bar filled. She also clears all negative effects. She heals for 50% of her max health, plus additional heals if she removes any negative effects. And then she has these other abilities, right? So when her health drops below 30%, she applies taunt to the highest health ally and gains regen for herself. So that makes her harder to kill. It essentially makes it so that, for example, if she's low in health, maybe it sends you to start. Now you have to attack Adam Warlock or someone else. Also, if her health is full at the start of the match, revive once with 20% of this character's max health, plus 20% for each Infinity Watch ally. So 100% if you have the full team. Because 4 allies means another 80% on top of the base 20. So if her health is full at the start of the match, then she's going to revive at 100% health. So essentially you have to kill her twice. That's basically the mechanic in this team. It's a mechanic other games have in certain teams. Very, very powerful mechanic. It reminds me a lot of Heroes for Hire. It almost makes me feel like, so the Heroes for Hire mechanic is essentially, you almost have to kill them 3 times, right? I mean, it's not quite, but you got to get them under 50% once, then twice, then you can finally kill them. This is somewhat similar, right? You basically have to kill her twice. Unless you use a anti-revive character like Black Bolt, suddenly becomes more important. And then the other thing I think that is interesting here, she has 100% resistance against defense down. So you really can't. So she's completely negated to Kestrel. Kestrel's not going to be able to get that defense down against her and get on a roll. I think that's very helpful as well. And then if you look here, there's going to be some other stuff as well. So let's start looking. Now we don't have here the energy levels. I'm going to assume that they are the same as the current version of Gamora that's in the game. In other words, right now we know, for example, what Gamora's ultimate cost is and what her special cost is and that sort of thing. So for Gamora, her ultimate right now, if we go to the game, is available turn 2. Okay? So let's go back here. And so I'm going to assume that remains the same. Her ultimate before, she gained offense up and she attacked, and on kill she'd fill her speed bar by 100%. Now it's just a slightly higher multiplier. Okay, you know that the ultimate the higher multiplier is nice. To me, the main thing is she's getting the additional boost on her damage stat. Now she's a top 25 damager. That's going to make it much more likely that she gets the kill. Her special, currently in the game, by the way, her special is available on turn 1. And it's a very short cooldown here. We can look at it here. Here's her special in the game. Very short cooldown. You can use it every 3 turns. Available turn 1. So her special now is actually not very good if you look at it here. But now it's significantly better. You go from 270 damage to 330 to 270 and 200 to 330, 250. It's a better multiplier. And then if Adam Warlock's an ally, this can chain to a stealth target, can't be countered. That's very good. Okay. And then her basic it goes from this 50% chance to bonus attack to just a straight bonus attack. What I'll say is the main thing that you're getting here with Gamora is the stat upgrades, as well as this this sort of mechanic down here that is I think very powerful about the revive. So essentially she's going to revive once. You have to so that means you have to defeat her twice unless you're bringing like Black Bolt or you use Kestrel's ult to kill her. And obviously becoming empowered is very powerful. So very, very high damage. Now let's look at Nebula. And I'll start by looking at her stats here. Nebula's stats were not quite as bad as Gamora's, but they were still not awesome, is the way I would put it. So currently her health in the game, we've got her. This is obviously super maxed. Okay, this is the G15 7 red star version here, but she's basically down here, tied for 94th with Nick Fury and White Tiger and Crystal. Very fragile. Now with a 20% boost, not nearly as high as what Gamora gets. Gamora gets 100% extra health, but her boost, 20% health, still takes her to 319, 890. That takes her up here with Crossbones and Winter Soldier. Takes her all the way up. She's going from 94th to 60th on the list. Very significant. Nebula's damage also increases. So, if you look at her damage now in the game, not nearly as high. She's down here in this category with a lot of rotten damager. So Nebula is she's tied for whatever she is, 103rd, sort of down here, with a whole bunch of people, whether it's Yo-Yo or Hydra Armor Guard or whatever. That's her current damage stat. But now it's up to 27,784, which is significant. Obviously not crazy like Gamora's, but still 27,784. It basically brings her up here with Daredevil and Thor, 47th, 48th. That's very good. Definitely a significant increase. Those two hit a lot harder. Her armor, she's a very low armor character. Her armor right now, I think it's in this 10906. So here she's in that Corvus Glaive 111th tier down here with like Corvus Glaive and Okoye and Elsa. Now her armor is going to be 13087. That gets her up here in 84th with Captain Marvel and Hydra Rifle Trooper and so forth. Definitely an improvement. And then her focus and resistance also go up. All right, that's definitely helpful. Focus right now is okay. Her focus has never been her biggest issue, but her focus now is 9747. So she's 88th or tied in this tied for 82nd if you want to look at it this way with Negasonic and so forth. Now she'll be 11696. That gets her up here between up to 44th. Okay, that's definitely a move up in the rankings. And then her resistance right now is 9587. Or so. Let's see here. 95. Let's see. I'm looking for her resistance is. Let's see. I thought I had her as 95. There we go. Oh, sorry. 7989. Tied for. Excuse me. So she's tied with a lot of other characters at 7989 for like 90th with Hawkeye and Venom and Pyro and Storm and a lot of others here. At 90th, now she's going to 95.87, so that will get her up into this tier where she's tied with the Psylocks and Lokis and Captain Marvels of the world. So definitely an improvement for Nebula in terms of stats. Even bigger improvement for her, though, is really in the kit. So let's take a look at the Nebula kit here. And by the way, she's becoming farmable again, so thank goodness. I'm one of many people, I think, who didn't bother to max her out in terms of shards. So if you need a few extra shards, she's going to be farmable. But let's look here. I'm going to start with her ultimate. Now, she is another character who I don't think, from what I've been told, I didn't start playing this game when it first came out. But I was told that even at the very beginning of the game, this character was completely useless. And so, here I think her passive, was basically, or let's see, this ultimate. The passive was basically garbage. She had a 15% chance to revive, which is just RNG, and then a 15% chance to assist. Now this is huge. On spawn, gain speed up. Very important because she's not a super fast character. This will make her much, much, much faster. Effectively, she will really get her going. Okay, she's not one of the fastest characters in the game, but now she will be. Then if her health is full at the start of the match, revive once with 10% of her max health plus 15% for each Infinity Watch ally. So that means with 4 allies, that means she's going to revive what I think 80% health, and she's definitely reviving once, period. It goes from 15% chance to 100%. So now we have 2 characters that are going to revive. And then when she revives, she gains death proof, which is very powerful. On turn, apply assist now plus speed up to Gamora. That's awesome. So now this is basically going to be like how Proxima and Corvus work. Every attack that she does, she's going to have Gamora attacking with her. Gamora, we saw, has that very powerful damage stat. It makes Nebula much, much stronger with Gamora. A very power combo. Then she gains 20% assist chance plus 20% for Infinity Watch ally, which means on the team, she's going to be assisting everybody's attacks. So essentially, because 20% per ally, that's 80% plus 20 is 100%. So basically the way this team's going to work is Nebula is assisting everyone's attacks. And then on her attacks, Gamora is going to be assisting her. So it's very, very powerful team-oriented character on this team. Now let's look at her ultimate. And now just to be clear, when we go to her ultimate in-game, we can see the energy cost. Okay, so her ultimate, available turn 1 and only a 3-turn cooldown. Very important here. All right, so before, it just attacked a target, and it had a 60% chance to chain. Didn't even guarantee a chance, and then she gained a couple of aids. Now, she applies heal block to the primary target. She always chains to 2 other targets and applies heal block. And then if she's on the team, she chains up to 10 adjacent targets. So this basically means if you have a bunch of dupes, it's going to counter the X Factor, right? She's going to counter Ultron. She's going to counter Fury. The idea is that she's going to counter these teams that rely a lot on summons. Then, not only does she gain 2 evade, but she applies evade to the whole team, so she really has a protection role on the team. And then, although counterattack breaks this chain, it doesn't break it if you have a full Infinity Watch team, because the attack can't be counterattack. And then, the attacks always crit if the target is summoned or cloned, which is basically a big FU to the Ultrons and Dooms and multiple mans of the world. All right, now let's look at her special. Also another ability gets a significant increase. This is also, by the way, ready turn 1, 4-turn cooldown. And so if we go here, her previous is just attack and get counter. Now it's not just attack and get 2 counter for her, but it's apply 2 counter to the whole team. It's almost like a Daredevil sort of thing. I think that's very powerful. And then here, her basic is much, much more powerful. It's attack primary target for 280% damage and gain speed up for a turn was her old. Now she attacks for 10% of the target's max health. Amazing. Amazing. It looks to me this could this be a Dark Dimension character? And that is insane. I mean, 10% of a target's max health could be a lot of damage. If the target's got 500k health, that could be an additional 50,000 damage. And the gaining speed up is a very clever way for them not to change your speed, but change your speed. In other words, this is a character who is not one of the very fastest in the game. So if we go to the speed tables here, okay, and you look at Nebula, she's 107, which is really nothing special, okay? It's down here in this, this range with everything from Cyclops to Graviton, whatever. But speed up is going to make her gain turn meter 50% faster. It's going to make her a lot faster. So what they've done now is made her a very fast character because she spawns with speed up. And then every time she uses her basic, she gains speed up. So she won't always have speed up because she's going to, for example, be using her special and ultimate. But it's possible, and we don't know. But her ISO attack or her counter assist could also, so there's something called in the game a counter assist attack, which you can see on MSF.gg, but you can't see it in the game file. So if we look here now at Nebula, currently you do get speed up for a turn on counters. So I assume this remains. So if she's now assisting everyone in every turn, she's going to be getting speed up all the time. It's basically going to be impossible to dispel it because every time you dispel it from her, not only is she going to have safeguard, so you can't get rid of it that way, but she's just going to be assisting again unless you have the entire team stunned or something. So very, very, very powerful character now in the game on that team because she's going to be assisting all over the place. A lot of extra damage, a lot of extra utility. Very powerful. So here's what I'm going to say. We still don't know about 2 of the other characters. We know what Adam Warlock looks like. We know what these 2 new reworked characters look like. And my prediction is that this may very well be a new arena meta. I don't know, but my sense is the 2 characters that they want us to buy are going to be generally the 2 best characters on the team, right? 2 of the best characters on the team. In other words, the legendary will be very good. Adam Warlock is a support, right? Which is very good. But let's face it, generally what happens is the character that they make a difficult to obtain release, whether it's Blitz or Strike Pass or whatever, that usually is OP character, whether it's Bishop, right, on X-Men. Jubilee's great and all, but Bishop is the one who you really need to have, right, Big? If I'm a betting man, I'm going to bet that the next 2 characters are super overpowered and they make this some sort of new arena meta. Remember that this is about a year since Black Order came out, since Ebony Maw was released in May of last year. So it's going to be a little over a year. And Ebony Maw was the last character to require a legendary to unlock the legendary. This is a team that seems to require the full team to function really well. Both Nebula and Gamora seem to require the full team to unlock their kits. My arena meta sensors are tingling. Okay? All right, guys. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe to this channel. If you have comments, go to my Discord. It's linked below, or leave some comments below in the in this YouTube channel. And of course, check out our Twitch stream. That's linked below as well.